Enjoy our spine-chilling stories as you sleep, commute, or relax. If you're new, hit subscribe and share with friends and family. Let us know in the comments how we can improve. Our stories are best experienced with headphones on. Now, let's dive into today's tale.
Warning: the following stories contain elements of horror that explore themes of the supernatural, possession, psychological terror, and gruesome transformations. They are intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for those sensitive to graphic imagery or themes of death, entrapment, and eternal damnation. Listener discretion is advised. Story number 3, title: The Scratching Hands. Years have slipped by since that night, but the memories cling to me like shadows, sharp and unsettling. I never believed in ghosts or the supernatural. I was a logical thinker, my feet planted firmly in the real world. Yet, as I sit here recalling the events, I can't shake the shiver that creeps down my spine. My stepfather worked out of town, leaving my mom and me to fend for ourselves during the week. To fill the void of his absence, we developed a quirky tradition: sleepovers. Each week, one of us would take the turn to sleep in my mom's bedroom, a room that held an aura of unease. Friends teased that it was haunted, but I brushed off their comments with a nervous laugh. I mean, the creaks and groans of an old house couldn't possibly mean anything sinister, right? It was my turn to sleep in the ominous room. I settled into the plush comforter, the air thick with expectation and a tinge of anxiety. My mom, with her soft smile, announced she was stepping outside for a cigarette. "Do you want me to leave the light on?" she asked, her eyes glimmering with mischief. "Yeah, please," I replied, attempting to mask my apprehension. She slid outside, leaving me enveloped in the glow of the bedside lamp. I tried to distract myself by scrolling through my phone, but the eerie silence settled around me like a heavy blanket. The shadows danced just beyond the light's reach, and I felt a creeping sensation crawl up my back. A few minutes later, the light flickered and then went dark, a sudden plunge into an unsettling void. The darkness felt alive, wrapping around me. I froze, heart racing, when I felt the bed shift beside me. My immediate thought was that my mom had come back in. "Hi," I said, my voice a shaky whisper. Something cold brushed against my back, fingers gliding gently at first before pressing harder, rubbing in a way that sent chills through me. It felt oddly comforting until it didn't. The hands were too cold, too deliberate. "Welcome back," I added, trying to convince myself it was just my mom. But then the fingers dug in, scratching my skin, and discomfort morphed into pain. "Stop," I gasped, the word barely escaping my lips. The hands hesitated for a moment, then returned to their gentle caress. But the unease had settled in my bones. I muttered a soft, "Please," and felt the pressure ease, but my instincts screamed that something wasn't right. Just then, the door creaked open, and my mom walked in, the glow of her phone illuminating her face. "I thought you wanted the light on," she said, a hint of confusion in her voice. "Yeah, but you were just here, right?" I stammered, sitting up, my heart thundering in my chest. She shook her head, her brow furrowed. "No, I just came back inside. I finished my smoke." Confusion tangled with fear as I stared at her, then at the empty space beside me. "But I felt you. I mean, something was. I thought it was you." She raised an eyebrow, skepticism dancing across her features. "You sure you didn't fall asleep or something?" "No," I wasn't asleep. I felt someone scratching my back, I said, anxiety bubbling up like a boiling pot. Let me see, she said, moving closer. I turned, exposing my back to her scrutiny. Her phone light flickered over my skin, and I winced. What the hell? She exclaimed, her voice a mix of surprise and concern. You've got scratch marks, like red lines. Yeah, I told you, it hurt. I felt the heat of embarrassment wash over me. What do you think it was? My mom shrugged, but her eyes were wide, reflecting my own fear. Maybe you scratched yourself in your sleep. Seriously, I would have felt that. She chuckled nervously, trying to lighten the mood, but it only made my skin crawl. Maybe you're more flexible than you thought, she joked, but the humor felt forced. The air thickened with tension as we both stared into the shadows of the room. I swallowed hard, trying to shake off the feeling of being observed. Can we just turn the light back on? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Sure, but it's just us here, she reassured, flicking the switch. The light flooded the room, illuminating the corners where darkness lurked. Yeah, just us, I echoed, but my voice trembled with uncertainty. The night dragged on. Each creak of the house magnified. Each rustle of the wind outside a reminder that we were not alone. I lay there, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, while my mom dozed off beside me. The light flickered again, a slight buzz accompanying its erratic behavior. I clenched my fists, feeling the scratch marks on my back throb as I shifted. Hours passed, but sleep eluded me. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that the room held secrets it wasn't ready to share. Finally, I turned to my mom, her peaceful face illuminated by the soft glow of the lamp. Mom, I whispered, shaking her gently. She murmured, her eyes fluttering open. Can you stay awake with me? I don't like it here. She sighed, brushing her hair back. All right, kiddo. We sat in silence, the buzz of the night wrapping around us. I leaned against her, grateful for her warmth. Do you think this place is haunted? I asked, more out of curiosity than belief. She laughed lightly, but it was tinged with nervousness. Haunted? Nah, just an old house. Old houses creak and groan. But what if there is something? I pressed, my heart racing as I recalled the cold hands. Then we'll deal with it together, she reassured, brushing her fingers through my hair. Just as I felt my tension ease, the lights flickered again, this time plunging us into darkness. The air grew cold, and I could feel the hairs on my arms stand on end. Mom, I whispered, panic creeping into my voice. I'm here, she said, but there was a tremor in her tone. The bed shifted again, and I held my breath. It's happening again, I said, my heart thundering in my chest. Stay still, she instructed, her voice low and calm, but I could hear the underlying fear. The cold fingers returned, this time even firmer, scratching across my back. I gasped, feeling the pressure build, and I jerked away. Stop! What the hell? The pressure ceased as abruptly as it had started, leaving me panting and wide-eyed. What's going on? My mom's voice trembled. I don't know, I cried, clutching my back. Something is here. Just then, a loud bang echoed from the other side of the room, making us both jump. What was that? I squeaked, eyes darting toward the darkness. Stay close to me, my mom whispered, her protective instincts kicking in. As we huddled together, the air grew thick with tension. The shadows seemed to shift, to writhe as though they were alive. We need to get out of here, I said, my voice trembling. Okay, she said, her grip tightening around my arm. We bolted toward the door, But just as we reached for the handle, the lights flickered violently. Before plunging us back into darkness, a low, guttural sound echoed in the room, vibrating through the walls. "Go!" my mom shouted. But the door wouldn't budge. Panic surged through me as I pulled on the knob, but it was locked, jammed. "Let us out," I screamed, thumping against the door. The scratching resumed, this time more aggressive, clawing at my back. "It's hurting me," I cried out, tears streaming down my cheeks. "Hold on," she yelled, yanking on the handle. The sound grew louder, a cacophony of whispers swirling around us. Just then, the door swung open, and we stumbled out into the hallway, breathless. We didn't stop to look back, racing down the stairs and out into the cool night air. "Did you see that?" I panted, my heart racing, as we stood in the moonlight. My mom shook her head, her breath coming in quick bursts. "No, but I felt it. We need to get out of this house." We ran to the car, desperate to escape the unease that lingered like a dark cloud over us. As we sped away, I glanced back at the house, its windows dark and foreboding. The feeling of dread still clung to me, but I felt a sense of relief wash over us as we distanced ourselves from the nightmare. Years have passed since that night, but the memories haunt me still. I never returned to that room, not even for a moment. Even now, the scratch marks on my back tingle with the memory of that cold touch, a reminder that sometimes the things we don't believe in can still find us, lurking in the shadows. "Do you think it was real?" I asked my mom years later, sitting on her porch, the night air calm and inviting. She chuckles, but her eyes betray her. "I don't know what we felt, but I know we weren't alone. And even though I tried to convince myself otherwise, I can't shake the feeling that the past is always lurking, ready to reach out and touch us when we least expect it."
If you're new, hit subscribe and share with friends and family. Let us know in the comments how we can improve.